We are live.
All right. I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. The meeting of the Board of MakeLab Charleston for Wednesday, August 24th. All in favor of approving the minutes for tonight's meeting?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. The minutes are approved. All in favor of approving the agenda for tonight's meeting?
Aye.
Aye.
And I think I misspoke on the previous item, which was approving the minutes of this week. Just want to make sure we approve the minutes of last week, the last meeting.
Gotcha.
All right. Go ahead and move on to reports from officers and committees. Mr. Treasurer, we're ready for your report.
All right. Well, we are now at 31 members. So we're moving on up. Still need around 40 or so members. If we're just relying on member dues for paying bills. Current net loss is at $1,845. Savings balance is $3,515.86. Checking balance is $499.13. That is all I have for the treasury report. I do have some other matters that will go into new business.
All right. Membership committee. Go ahead, sorry.
Rodney, our current membership is, you know, when he gives his report.
Okay, so you don't have anything in addition?
No, I do not.
Okay. Do we have any additional committee or team reports?
I still have action item from the previous meeting that I have will carry forward because I haven't completed it yet. Following up with the Citadel professors to schedule a tour in the fall. I did get permission to be off of work on October 10th, if that's a Monday. If that's good for y'all as well, I can see if that works for them.
Okay. Do you have their address to follow up with them?
I think I'm pretty sure I'm on that email thread. But if not, I'll reach out on Slack.
Okay. Yeah. Feel free to go ahead and just reply to that thread directly.
Okay.
See, network team. Unless Stuart wants to give a report for the network team. So I think he might be sitting next to Rodney. But we have gotten some cable run in the network room, and then we've made some progress on the electronic access to the back door. We got a latch on the door, but we still need to reposition the crash bar, and then we now have 2 access points up and running so that we can get some better coverage since our neighbors are all running Wi-Fi access that's trying to clobber ours. But I think that's about it to report for right now.
Which has arrived.
Excellent. Do you have anything else?
And the PoE injector panel arrived.
Excellent. Any other additional committee or team reports? All right, then we'll move on to unfinished business and general orders. Stephen, did you have anything in addition to what you mentioned earlier about being able to meet some guests for a tour on Monday afternoon?
No, that was the only unfinished business I had.
All right. I'm trying to follow up with College of Charleston. I had a phone call with somebody from College of Charleston a few weeks ago that I spoke about at a previous meeting. They were supposed to send me a calendar with available dates for us to choose from. And I never got. They were supposed to follow up a few days later after our phone call, and they never have. So I've sent an email earlier this week asking for a follow up, and haven't heard anything yet. So I think I'm gonna have to call her office instead of emailing to see if I can get that going, so that when we're ready to meet next, we can try to pick a date for bar camp. All right, we'll move on to new business. Any Q3 membership meeting agenda items? Oh, excuse me. I don't have any agenda items for the meeting, other than to. No, I don't think I have any. Does anybody else have any agenda items that need to be added before next week?
The only thing I have for new business, and it also ties into unfinished business for me to get see if the landlord had any preference on exterminator. I was going to combine that with this inquiry from him about the AC repair. I posted the PDF in the executive committee Slack channel. This is an invoice from the AC company that came back in June, and apparently, quote unquote, inspected the system.
He didn't inspect it.
Yeah, that's why I said I'm putting quotation marks with my fingers in the air.
He was a rude, nasty guy, and he didn't check anything. He just pointed a heat gun at a return and said rude things and left.
Yeah. So the bill is $110, and the notes on the bill is checked units and found one unit turned off. Tenant only had one unit running. Stated they turned one unit off to see if the building would cool with one unit, because we were testing it at the time, because one side was suspect and we were trying to figure out what was going on.
I think it had only been off for like 10 minutes when he walked in.
Yeah, check Freon wiring, amps, and temperature of air from vents. Had 59 degrees air out of vent. One unit will not cool the entire building. Both units working properly. So those are his notes.
Well, he lied.
Yeah.
Because he didn't check the filters.
So the email from the landlord, he says, attached is an AC repair bill. I was asked to call the repairman, and evidently, according to the invoice, nothing was wrong with the unit. Please see invoice comments. If this is correct, please pay the bill direct to the AC company. If not, please give me a call, which I intended to do the day. However, I had to pick up my nephew from the airport about 1 a.m. Last night. I got about 2 hours of sleep, and then I've been running him around the air base and helping him run errands. So I did not get a chance to do that today, but it's on my calendar to accomplish tomorrow, to re-engage with the landlord.
And Rodney, I have an email started about what I witnessed when the AC repairman came out that day. And it's verbatim, pretty much what Stuart said. He didn't check anything. He just pointed his temperature gun at the air vents, smarted off. I didn't hear exactly what he said, but I heard voices raised. It was when I was in the other room, and when I came back in there, he quieted down because Kate was with me, and I knew something had just happened. But he was very rude and facetious. didn't check anything because I saw him through there the entire time. But I will finish that email and get it sent to you this evening so that you'll have it tomorrow morning.
He also lied in his report because he said the one unit was off, and I had literally turned it off a few minutes before because we were checking it. And I told him that we had just turned it off. And he checked the temperature, and I told him there was no air coming out of it, and he didn't even check it. And my observation there was no air coming out of it fits with what Rodney found later, that there was a piece of cardboard in there instead of the filter in the return. That's going to lower the air pressure.
Right. So I'm going to include that in my report. I'm going to email it to him first. I'm sure he's going to want a phone call because he's not an email kind of guy. But I'll get the email with all of our issues to him, and we'll see how it goes from there.
I think an email might be better first. Let him mull it over for 20 or 30 minutes before you chat on the phone about it.
Yeah.
I posted the link to the meetup for tomorrow night's class as a reply to the Reddit thread about magic mirrors.
Right.
And then I got all the board should be CC'd on it, but we got a reply from Emily Kelton, who's at this point pretty sure that they're going to go with School Factory to start up their space, their makerspace in Seattle. So
Seattle,
yep.
Okay.
So we had a maker from living just north of Seattle who is considering working with School Factory for their 501c3 fiscal sponsorship, and wanted to know our thoughts and about our experience with working through School Factory. They're just looking for some advice to get started.
I saw that email, and I will shoot them a reply. I think School Factory is a great organization. They're very helpful, very open. They're busy, and sometimes it may be a day before you hear back from them, but you always hear back within like 48 hours at least. And if you have any questions, I feel like they've been very supportive. They've kind of changed up their program now where new organizations coming in actually, have a better opportunity going through the process faster and more streamlined with more support because they have so much more experience under their belt now. So I will definitely shoot her a little email back, but School Factory they're pretty great.
Cool, thank you. And Rodney, if you get a chance, I'd like, would you be able to also shoot a reply about the financials part of it? I think getting feedback from both of you would be excellent.
Sure.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Emily also mentioned that they're trying to get some space. They rent space or they borrow space from their local library, and they're in a position like we were when we just moved from the old location to our current location, which is people who say they would join her makerspace when they get a permanent space, but they can't get a permanent space until they get members to be able to afford it. So I think I'll also reply to that question as well with, because she wanted to know about the city. Her city is offering some rent-free space to get started, but since they're shooting for nonprofit status, then I'll reply to her and suggest looking for grants, because I might know some sources for her to some resources for finding grants to help her space get a permanent physical location.
Also, a good idea for a temporary location possibly is she could look around places where she's interested, and if you see something that's been open for a while, contact the person, see if, because if they get hooked up with the school factory, then they can provide a tax deductible receipt, and they could actually, maybe there's a realtor who has a small space that he can't really rent and it's staying open and he's losing money on it. He could donate the space for their use and then in turn receive a tax deduction for that.
That's a great point.
So I'll make sure I made myself a note here, and I'll be sure to add a little bit of information about that in there as well.
Great. I love that we all are willing to provide some helpful advice to get another makerspace going. If you look at their website, makerlabnw.org, they look like they're doing a lot of crafts projects and getting kids involved. So it looks like they're off to a great start.
Cool. Have to check them out a little bit more. I did briefly browse through and look at things, but I think what they're doing will be very well received in the area that they're at. And if they can just get, on the ground, their feet on the ground running, they'll be very profitable there. It'll be prosperous for them. I think it'll take on well. So we'll shoot them a little email and help them out with some maker love and little tips. That's what it's all about, is to help each other. So we do what we can and it'll come back to us.
Oh, yeah. All right. Is there any other new business before we schedule the next meeting?
Who's teaching stuff?
Stuart has brought up a question about what classes we have. Are we teaching anything coming up?
I mean, I'm the only one teaching anything, and I kind of need some help.
Well, I've confirmed with my friend Kevin that he is coming by tomorrow.
Yes, that's right, but that's a singular event. We got to get some other things going. I mean, 3D printing is great, but it only hits a certain market.
Right.
Yep.
I'm revamping the Pi.
Just teach
Stuff,
it. Don't
yeah.
revamp it. Just teach it.
Adding camera stuff to it. So.
I mean, we don't have months to revamp these things. Just teach them.
Yep. Rodney, do you also have a Linux, or is that the Raspberry Pi thing?
Well, I have a generic command line, intro to command line.
Cool. Yeah, I think it'd be good to go ahead and start some basic TCP/IP networking.
Right. And that can also tie in if somebody's on a Pi and they're not comfortable with command line. You can tie those two in together.
Yeah, go ahead and sign me up to go ahead and start teaching a Go programming course.
I have a few things I'm kicking around. I just need to make sure school's just starting, and I just need to see how my schedule's going to go before I commit to something. I want to be sure that I'm able to keep my word and host that date that I picked. So I just need to take the rest of this week to figure out what my schedule is going to be, and I'll be able to put a couple classes on the calendar for September.
Yeah, you've still got the kids in the school, so, when I was thinking this through, I was aware of that. It's just the other guys who've got classes we've taught before, teach the class again. You've already got your stuff from before. Teach it. Don't update it, just teach it. Because people will come in the doors.
I think this might be a good agenda item for the membership meeting, to reach out to the members to ask who's willing to volunteer to teach classes to get more members into the space. Or get
I'm averaging 1.5 new members a class. And I say that because if I do the math of how many classes, it's 1.5 per class.
I agree, D-Bex. I think that would be a good idea to reach out then for whoever's there and ask, people to donate some time. One class every 6 weeks is really not a lot. If everybody did that, we would have a packed calendar.
Oh yeah.
We wouldn't even have enough room to put them in the calendar.
And they don't have to be a big fancy formal class. You could do 1 hour class on how to get your personal business, your small business on Google Maps and set it up as a local business. It could be, just a little troubleshooting. I can't download Windows. My update didn't work. What do I do? There's some simpler classes that we could do as well. So it didn't have to be everything, a big class with a lot of material and a lot of effort. Mix it up, that's all I'm saying is there could be some little smaller stuff in there that might appeal to a different crowd.
Oh yeah. Looking back at the post we made to Reddit asking what people wanted to learn, and the other thing besides Magic Mirror was something to sync music and Christmas lights together, and Linux.
Mm.
And then there was one thing that I don't think we took too seriously, but it kind of makes me nervous, was the accessing and navigating the dark web.
Right.
Yeah,
I strongly recommend not doing that class since the
that could open us to some liability, and yeah.
Serious.
There's a saying that I've taken to heart. If you need to ask directions on how to access that part of the web, then you should not be there. Kind of thing. It's like, yeah, you don't know enough to protect yourself. If you don't know how to find it without asking for assistance, then you don't know how to protect yourself, and you should not go there.
Yep. I'm going to schedule another the intro to 3D printing class and another troubleshooting class. I mean, that last one I had, what were you here for that? Were either of you here for that?
For which one?
Stephen was here. There were about 10, 12 people there, Stephen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for the intro one, I was there for that, and there were like 10 or 12 people. I missed out on the other one. I wanted to be there, but things kind of blew up at work. So I definitely would like to attend it the second go round.
Which one, the intro or the other? Oh yeah, I'll do that again. And we also got a couple members that want to learn how to print, so I got to do another how to use the printer class, but those will be on weekends.
Yeah.
I'm still willing to show people how to use the CNC machine whenever is a good time.
Well, you're going to have it running for the quarterly meeting, right?
Yeah, of course.
Well, we'll hopefully have the movie playing in the front window by the quarterly meeting. That's the goal, is to get that done this weekend.
Yeah, I'll have the Shapeoko running. Whether or not I'll have my new machine running, I don't know. No guarantees, but
and we
definitely on the Shapeoko, and then.
And we need. Did you take pictures building it? Everybody keeps take pictures.
I took a few pictures as I was putting it together.
Because I need pictures because the movie that I have up there is fine, but once it's showing, we're going to need to change it after a couple of weeks and come up with new material. So,
yep.
Pictures.
In addition to TCP/IP networking and Go programming, I need to go ahead and schedule another. I'll do another public key cryptography.
Good. Just get them scheduled, and I'm not sure which one, but I want to start a for members only. After the quarterly meeting, I want to start a programming class that'll be for members only because I don't want to put it on Meetup.
Okay.
I have those videos I paid for, and I don't want to post that on Meetup just because of, digital.
Gotcha. I think it'd be a good idea. There'd be several members that would be interested in that.
Yeah, I mean, I've got several $100s worth of classes I bought, and they're good classes. And, you're talking about if you spent 2 hours a night for 3 or 4 weeks, you get a pretty good class. But we can't allow non-members in because I know if I were to charge for that course, I'd be guilty of something with using material I paid for. But if I'm in the room watching it and others are in the room watching it, I don't think I'm breaking any rules if they're members.
Right, right.
All right. Who wants to take this list of classes and arrange them on the calendar?
I can help out. I have some time during the day that I'm able to help with. If I know Stephen has probably made note of each one that you guys mentioned in the minutes, but I need to know what days of the week is preferable for each person and, dates. I can get stuff put on the calendar. I just need to know what everyone's availability is. Maybe I don't know. How do you guys want to?
I ran the 3D printing classes on Wednesday the last 2 months. I want to run them on Tuesdays for the next couple months because I'm sure some people didn't come because of the evening.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then after a couple months we'll do a different day.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think if we do Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then the Wednesdays we don't have board meetings, that would be great. Maybe we can run one class series on all the Tuesday nights and one on all the Thursday nights, and then when one of those finishes first, then set up the next class track on the night where the previous class is finished.
Sounds good.
What do you mean track of what?
Well, some of the classes would be more than one class,
Right, like I'm not going to teach all of Go programming in a single night. I might need like 3 or 4 nights, and do like one a week for 4 weeks or whatever. I'm fine with either Tuesday or Thursday.
And then we need to figure out how to start my newly trademarked marketing program for learning, my Lurk and Learn sessions.
So we've also been talking about there are some classes that we want to make free to the public to draw people in, and there are going to be some classes we want to charge so that we can generate some income to cover rent and utilities.
Right.
Which ones of these do we feel like we want to charge the non-members for, and which ones do we want to host for free?
Well, the intro to 3D printing, when we charged for it one time, and I had 2 people show up and didn't get any new members. We didn't charge it for it the next time. We had 6 or 7 new people, 1 member, which is why I don't count him as a member, and another guy said he was going to join next month. So at least on the intro to 3D printing, not charging is getting us members.
Excellent. So we're actually coming out ahead by giving the classes for free.
That one. Certainly not applies to everything, but the intro to 3D printing, yes, I think that class is better off being free.
Yeah. Maybe call for the public key crypto, maybe put intro 2 in front of it and make that free.
But see, public key cryptography, that is value beyond just a free intro thing. I charge non-members for that.
Okay. All right. I'm fine with that. Yeah, take intro 2 off, and then let's make that a. I think last time I tried to squeeze it all in one session and it didn't work. So maybe that's something that we should try to do in like 3 or 4 sessions.
Yeah, and do something like if it's 4 sessions, do something like $10 a night or $25 for the whole 4 sessions. Something that if they just walk in, you want to encourage them to pay for the whole thing. If they don't come, okay, it's not as much, but I would think we could get, 3 or 4 non-members to pay for that. I mean, it's certainly worth a shot.
Yeah. And well, I guess let's talk about the basic TCP/IP networking. Is that something we want to?
I don't know. That's a toss-up to me. I don't know. I know next week I'm in the certification class Monday through Wednesday for MikroTik MPCNE, and assuming I pass the test on Wednesday, I could easily charge $50 to $100 for a class that say was a couple of hours for 2 or 3 weeks. Could easily charge $50 to $100. And people will come to that.
Yeah.
But again, we can't get that scheduled. The earliest we'll be able to schedule that is end of September, because a class like that, you've got to post it a week or 2 before you have it. You can't just, intro to 3D printing, you can post and do that week, and you're going to get people. The others, you're looking at scheduling September's classes right now for everything else.
Yeah, make my Go programming and basic TCP/IP networking both intros.
Okay.
And 6:30 to 8:30 or 9 for the intro. Starting at 6:30 seems to work. We've tried 7, we've tried 6 and 6:30, and 6:30 seems to be the time that works best.
All right.
And then so people can find our space, we should also very soon have a display in the window above the front door for people to identify where we are.
What? Oh, we already talked about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I said hopefully we'll have it done. We do need to set up some networking for it, because if I run it on the same network the Wi-Fi is on, it clobbers the Wi-Fi.
Yep. Are we going to go through the drop ceiling, or do we want to use the
I don't know. We
managers?
can start that on the weekend. We don't need to tie up everybody's time talking about the details of that, but we are going to need to. Well, no, I mean, we just got to set up routers and get networking. And
what about the 3D modeling with like Onshape?
What do you mean?
Do we have something set up soon? I got an email from somebody.
We just talked about that, and I told Lori 6:30 is a better time, and she's going to schedule it for Tuesday, starting the beginning of September.
Oh, I didn't see it in the minutes.
Oh.
Yeah,
I think
I'll need to
talk about, wasn't it?
Yes, I've got it. I was just going to copy and paste the description that you wrote for me on the one before.
Okay, yeah. I don't see any problem with that. That's
Okay.
good. And since it's free, since it's a free class, I can, as soon as we've got it posted, I will contact the Onshape salesman and tell him, because if it's a free class, they'll promote it.
Was
Ooh,
it
good.
Andrew Milmore?
Milmore?
I'll forward you the email. All right, Stuart. I just forwarded you an email I got from somebody at Onshape today.
Oh, okay. What, about something going on?
Just read the email, so we don't tie up too much time.
Okay, is it good or bad? Just tell me that.
It's good, I think.
Okay.
It's just them checking in.
Okay.
Did you guys know it may be because there's another space in the area that's heavily promoting an Onshape users monthly meetup there.
That it might be confusing our two spaces.
Well, I noticed in their verbiage that they, in one of them, that they made it a point to say that the class was a free software and they didn't charge you to come and learn how to use a free software. It's a free class, for free software, and
Yeah, and the thing they're not realizing is my class, when we were charging for it, it isn't a class in how to use Onshape. It's a class in modeling for 3D printing. We just happen to be using Onshape.
right.
I'm going to straighten that out with the. I'm betting you there's nobody up at Reforge paying for the software, and I pay for it, and some of my customers pay for it. So I'm going to have a little talk with my Onshape salesman
Okay.
about, look at where your bread's buttered, who you're making money from. I think he'll wake up.
All right. It sounds like we're pretty well covered on a set of classes for right now. Should we go ahead and schedule the next meeting? And that would be the Wednesday after next would be the 7th of September.
Correct.
Does that work for everybody?
Works for me.
Works
And
for me too.
All right.
quarterly meeting is this coming Wednesday, the 31st.
That's right. A week from tonight.
What time is it at? I've forgotten.
What, 6:30 or 7?
I think we have it at 7 on
It's
the
at
calendar.
7.
Yep.
Yep, it's at 7.
All right. Does anybody have anything else before we adjourn?
Not I. I'm good.
Nothing for me.
Steven? All right.
I said no.
Okay. Great. All right. Then we'll see you all next week at the quarterly membership meeting.
Cool.
Yeah, big.
Meeting adjourned.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.